Shalom. This week we are reading Parshat Acharei Mot, beginning in Sefer Vayikra, chapter 16. Parsha begins, Hashem spoke to Moshe after the death of Aaron's two sons. And the Parsha brings us back to Parshat Shemini, where we read about the untimely death of Aaron's two sons, Nadav and Avihu. And we know, after everything that we discussed, after everything that we've tried to understand, that Nadav and Avihu had the best of intentions. They were totally taken up with the excitement of everything that was going on around them on Rosh Chodesh Nisan, the first day of Nisan, the dedication of the Tabernacle, the fire that descended from heaven, and the spirit of the Shekhinah in the world, the beginning of the divine service. And they weren't following protocol, divine protocol for how to act in the sacred space of the Tabernacle. They brought a fire for which they were not commanded, but their intentions were great. The question really was how to translate their desire to serve Hashem into the required parameters for what it takes to serve Hashem in this world. But in any event, that narrative, the narrative of the death of Nadav and Avihu, was interrupted by the two parshiot of Tazria and Metzora, which deal with all sorts of different laws, complicated laws regarding purity, various types of physical purity, Kohanim, regular Israelites who've been affected by the Tzarat affliction. And the truth is that the interruption in the flow of the events from the death of Nadav and Avihu already began in Parshat Shemini, in chapter 11, where we already have some other laws relating to purity. And so, the question is, why is it that now, 3 weeks after we read Parshat Shemini, that Parshat Acharei Mot begins with a verse that sounds as if it's taking place immediately after their death? Hashem spoke to Moshe after the death of Nadav and Avihu. We know that we've had this interruption of Tazria and Metzora. The truth is that we find a great deal, especially throughout the book of Vayikra, that there is a continuity of theme, but not necessarily a continuity which is chronological. And of course we know in general that there is a concept in the Torah that things are not necessarily as they seem. Things are not necessarily placed in chronological order. However, the sages of the Talmud tell us that actually on the day of Rosh Chodesh Nisan, which is of course the day that's being described in the beginning of Parshat Shemini, on that very day, the 8th day, the day of the dedication of the Tabernacle, a number of sections of the Torah were taught, were stated to Moshe. A number of parshiot, specific groups of halachot. For example, in Parshat Emor, the laws pertaining to the Kohanim. In Parshat Bahalotcha, the laws pertaining to the Levites and to the lighting of the menorah. Certain laws of purity and sending from the camp those that have been rendered impure that we find in Tazria Metzora, and also this parsha of Acharei Mot and the prohibition for Kohanim from drinking wine, and also the precept, the ordinance of Para Aduma. All of these things were actually stated at the same time on Rosh Chodesh Nisan. So actually, there is no real interruption. But the Torah is like a maze, and there is a theme which is running through. We are not presented with the things chronologically, although here, according to this opinion, actually, all of these things occurred at the same time. In general, as we've stated, there is a problem that we have in trying to understand and digest and translate and incorporate a meaning, a teaching for us on our level of these laws of purity at this particular time in our history, while the temple is not yet standing. What laws, the laws of purity, what bearing do they have on our lives? And we look at the whole situation from Aaron's point of view. He must have been feeling extremely forlorn. He must have been feeling, how is it possible to serve Hashem in this world? Where is it all going? How do we indeed serve Hashem in this world? And one thing that we really understand from the laws of purity, the laws of Tazria Metzora, the laws of the affliction of tzarats, and all the laws pertaining both to the Kohanim and the Leviim and also to the Israelites, we understand that to really serve Hashem in this world takes a tremendous level of caution, of preparation, and of what, for lack of any better word, we really need to call spiritual maturity. And indeed, it was lacking a misplacement, a misunderstanding of spiritual maturity, which was the one true flaw that Nadav and Avihu demonstrated. Everybody is always looking for Hashem's presence in this world. And just as there are laws pertaining to how and when and who may approach His presence in the tabernacle, and how we are to follow the divine protocol of the alignment of the Shekhinah in the world when it comes to the tabernacle, so also now as well, even though we have not yet succeeded in rebuilding the temple, in the meantime, everyone is still seeking Hashem's presence in this world. And the only way to successfully navigate through all of the challenges that we have is by demonstrating this level, the same level of spiritual maturity and understanding, that we walk a very fine line. And the tabernacle really, in this understanding, is a prototype of the whole world. The whole world is full of Hashem's glory. And we are called upon to exhibit, to demonstrate, and indeed to have within us a very high level of this spiritual maturity, which is manifest in our preparedness, in our understanding just how fine a line we walk, just how fine the balance between forces is in this world. And this is really the true meaning of the laws of purity, that all of us have two sides to us. All of us have the possibility, the potential of allowing our physicality to plunge us into some dark abyss. And that's precisely what the presence of Hashem in the tabernacle and in this world, and what the whole concept of serving Hashem truly is addressing. The idea that although we are so fallible, and although that we have this potential to truly mess up, the idea of the laws of Tuma and Tara, the continuity that we see in the Torah of the theme throughout these parshiots, calling every person, Israelites, Levites, Kohen, and indeed every human being created in God's image, calling upon us to constantly exhibit and manifest and live this edge in our lives of spiritual maturity, of preparedness, of understanding the boundaries, the parameters, the protocol of how to translate our enthusiasm and excitement and knowledge of Hashem's presence in this world into something that will work, into something that will keep the world alive, into something that will give pleasure to Him, and understanding that it's not about us. It's not about how we want things to be. It's not about my way. It's about Hashem's divine plan for allowing His presence to be in this world, for serving Him, for all of us to be able to feel that, to be able to constantly connect to that. Because that truly is the mark of a human being, when we can demonstrate that level of spiritual maturity and translate the laws of the Torah into our everyday understanding of the balance that we all walk in order to bring the presence of Hashem into this world.